guys, welcome back to another video. I've been wanting to get a Drawknife for a while now, specifically for bow making, but with how expensive they can be to get a nice quality one, I figured why not make my own with the materials that I just have lying around. So today I'm going to be bringing you along during the process that I took to forge a Drawknife from a chunk of steel. My first step was to thin out the piece of steel that I had, as it was a little too thick for the size Drawknife that I wanted. My plan was to make it a one-piece knife, but as you'll see here in a second, things changed and I had to pivot and change up my idea of how it was all going to come together. Once I got to the thickness I wanted it, I went ahead and cut off my working piece, and if I can remember correctly, it was about 10 inches. I then made some slits 2 inches from each side to start drawing out the handles. My big mistake happened here as I cut too far into the steel when making my slits for the handles, and when I started the forging process, the handle pieces ended up breaking off. After a little bit of thinking about how I was going to fix this mistake without completely having to start over, I decided that I would screw the handles in. The benefit of this would be that I would be able to remove the handles to place on different ones if I ever wanted to, or even change the angles of the handles themselves. I definitely could have spent a little bit more time at this step in the process, as I didn't get the blade completely smooth and flat, which later on prevented me from getting a nice even polish across the whole blade, but I think it turned out pretty cool, and it gives the knife a little bit of character having those rough spots on them. With the profile finished, it was time to get the screw holes in the handles and the blade before hardening. My poor craftsman driver couldn't handle this task very well, so I decided to finish them up on my dad's drill press. At this point, I put it together to see how it was looking and knew right away that I was going to have to switch out the Phillips head bolts that I had gotten for it. In my final version, I ended up getting some hex bolts that allowed me to really tighten down the handles so that they wouldn't move without me purposely adjusting them. With the blade hardened and tempered, it was time to polish. I started trying to get into some of the crevices of the blade with a wire brush attachment, just to hit some of the spots that I didn't get while flattening and grinding in the bevels. It definitely didn't fix them, but helped clean them up a little bit, and then after that progressively worked up to a 600 grit finish. With the blade all but sharpened, I went on to the handles. This is just some birch from a tree that I bucked up on my parents' property. And I made the first handle off camera and then tried to replicate it as best I could on the second piece. I don't have a lathe, so I had to use the belt sander as a makeshift one. And after that, I sanded the handles up to a 320 grit finish before fitting them onto the handle pieces, which I also spent a little bit more time cleaning up and shaping. It was then time to put the wooden handles on, so I drilled out the holes and heated up the steel pieces to get a nice smooth form fit. I was pretty happy how it turned out. It's definitely not the prettiest nor the best draw knife, but it's one that I made and one that I will use to help create many other things. There's something different and special about using a tool that you made to make other creations. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.